Today we are going to investigate adding fractions. So as you can see, the first arrow indicates what not to do. If we were to take the fraction 1/2 and add it to 3 over 1, we would not be able to simply add the numerators and the denominators to get 4 over 3. What we need to do, as arrow 2 indicates, is to find a common denominator. So to do that, we look at the denominator and we notice that 2 could be a common denominator that will allow us to add these fractions together. So essentially what we do is in arrow 3, as you can see, we would multiply the second fraction, 3 over 1, by 2 over 2. 2 over 2 is essentially 1, so anything multiplied by 1 is itself, so we are not changing that fraction, we are simply manipulating it. And the result is 1/2 plus 6 over 2, which gives us 7 over 2, because once we have a common denominator, we can then simply add the numerators together. Now let's take a look at 3/5 plus 7/2. In this situation, the denominators are not the same, so we're going to have to find a common denominator. So an easy way to find the common denominator here would be simply to multiply the denominators in each fraction. So 2 times 5 would give us 10. That would be our common denominator that we can use as we manipulate these fractions. So as in the previous slide, we can take the first fraction, 3/5, and multiply it by 2 over 2, which again is 1, and then multiply the second fraction, 7/2, by 5 over 5. This will then give us a common denominator of 10. So the result of multiplying 3/5 by 2 over 2 would give us 2 times 3, which is 6, and 2 times 5, which is 10, to give us 6/10, as you can see in the to the right of the fourth arrow. And then for the other fraction, we could multiply 7 by 5 to give us 35, and 2 times 5 will give us 10 in the denominator, so that will give us 35/10. And we can now add the fractions. We can simply add the numerator, 6 plus 35, to give us 41, and we can carry along the denominator, 10. So 3/5 plus 7/2 becomes 6/10 plus 35/10, which gives us 41/10. So let's try one last example. 1/4 plus 5/8. If we look at this equation, we notice that we already have a common denominator in 8. So we would only have to manipulate one fraction, that fraction being 1/4. Okay, I can now take out my trusty lightsaber to give you a point of reference, and just so you don't get startled, let me give it a shot. Here it is. So we notice in terms of manipulating the first fraction, 1/4, if we multiply it by 2 over 2, right here, that is essentially multiplying it by 1, and anything times 1 is itself, so 1/4 times 1 would be 1/4, but in this situation we can take and multiply the numerator 2 by the numerator 1, which would give us 2, and the denominator 4 by the denominator 2, which would give us 8. We would then have 2/8, and we could add that to 5/8. So again, you get 2/8 plus 5/8 equals 7/8, because in this situation we can add the numerator 2 to the numerator 5 in the second fraction to give us 7, and then we can carry along the common denominator, which is 8. So 1/4 plus 5/8 would give us 7/8. Now it's your turn to give a few examples a shot. The first one here being 2/3 plus 4. Please keep in mind that 4 is really 4 over 1. And once again, look for that common denominator. And then add your numerators together and carry along that denominator. This second example is a little bit more challenging, as you add 7/10 plus 2/3. And once again, as we discussed previously, if you multiply the denominators together, you can get a common denominator. Hint, hint.
So in the last example, we have 1/3 plus 5/6, and this is a situation where the common denominator is already readily apparent. So you'll only have to manipulate one fraction. Give it your best shot. Good luck. It's been an absolute pleasure taking this journey with you, and may the force be with you.